Welcome students. This is a video for our final unit. I hope you're having a happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you're being safe. And I want to go ahead and talk about what you're going to do in your last paper. I don't think it's super complicated, but I want to make sure that you've got the idea. So let's go ahead and go on over to our content, and then we're going to look at the essay requirements, right? I'm going to go down here into writing the proposal. So this is essentially what's called a proposal. A proposal deals with a problem and a solution. You are proposing a solution, right? So let's go click a little bit on the essay requirements. Once again, for this paper in particular, like the first paper, you're thinking about it as a speech, and this time it's specifically to a TED Talk audience. So the paper setup, you've been asked to do a TED Talk on an idea that would help to create a better world. One idea, one solution. Your task is to come up with one idea that anybody could do in general, that if it were to be implemented, you think would result in a better world. It has to be something, an idea that is not so expensive or so inaccessible that people can't do it. It can't be an idea that's so complicated that it can't be done. It has to be an idea or a solution to a problem that is specific, that you and I could do when we left the TED Talk audience. And I'm going to, with this video, I'm going to give you some ideas on those types of solutions. It's once again going to be 800 words in length, and you're going to have the 200-word analysis of the persuasive strategies, because remember, in this TED Talk, you are trying to persuade the audience to immediately go out and do the thing that you suggested that they do when they leave the audience, right? Okay, so let's go back to the discussion which is coming up. And that discussion is discussion 6A. Okay, so here I once again repeat the paper setup. So the motto for TED Talks and the TED Conference is ideas worth spreading. So you've been asked to do a TED Talk on an idea that would help to create a better world. A world perhaps that is more equitable, more loving, more creative, more just. Your task is to come up with the idea. Remember, the world includes our family, workplaces, schools, churches. So it could be an idea that's implemented primarily, in families or in schools. Does not have to be, every single person in the world type of thing. But for the environment that you're picking, it would be an idea that people could do. You, of course, are going to use your persuasive strategies, your reason, your facts, your statistics, your emotion, your description, your details, and your credibility to reach your TED Talk audience. So the goal here is to use a variety of those strategies, including the research. This is a paper that will involve research. You've got to have at least 3 sources backing up your analysis of the problem and your one idea type of solution that people in your audience could do. So I say here, scroll through the TED Talk site and find 3 talks that propose a specific idea. So this is the first part of 6A. So I first want you to go through and look for some TED Talks and TED Talks that propose an idea. There's lots of different types of TED Talks, but you're looking for ones that propose a specific solution. List the talks there. So when you do 6A discussion and you're answering the discussion, write number 1, list the 3 TED Talks that you found, pick one of the talks and listen to it. So first you've listed the 3 talks you found, and then you pick one of the talks, you listen to it, and you briefly summarize the idea that the speaker was presenting and how the speaker tried to persuade you. Next, number 2, so in your discussion post, write number 2, brainstorm your own idea. And you could do this through taking some time to journal and to write, and you could pick one of these following prompts. So in your discussion, pick the prompt, list it in your discussion, and just list some ideas that you came up with. So here's some ways to start brainstorming ideas. We need to end or stop blank, and one way to do it is by blank. We need to gain or start blank, and one way to do it is by blank. Make a difference today by blank. One simple way to create a better world is by blank. When you leave today, this talk, try blank. So those are great little sentences that will help you brainstorm an idea that anyone can implement, a solution that someone could walk away with, right? So after you've taken time to brainstorm on those, then on number 3, report here, what kinds of ideas did you come up with? Maybe it was one basic idea, maybe it were several. Just write briefly what you came up with. Number 4, taking a look at your ideas that you've brainstormed so far, is there one that stands out to you very strongly? One that you think you would want to share with a TED audience? Ask yourself as well, can I make my idea more specific, more practical, more doable, right? Share this here. And then on the research, you're looking for some published information on your idea. Quickly do the brief internet search just to see if there's some information out there on your solution idea that you've come up with and or on your problem. So I'll give you an example here, and when I put out this video, I'll have an accompanying a document that also talks a little bit more about ideas. For example, let's say my idea is that my one simple idea is that everyone should leave and purchase a straw, a drinking straw that is made of a non-plastic material. Or my one simple idea is that everyone should give up using plastic straws. And there are long-term permanent straws that people can buy that don't wear out, that you can use over and over and over again, that are not plastic. Or along that same line, I could say, if you're a person that drinks coffee or other things, and you can buy a cup that is recyclable, that you can keep for years and go into places and have them fill your cup with their coffee. And I know it's a little difficult right now in the virus time to do it, but eventually we'll be able to use our recyclable cups again. Then that's the simple solution. And you know, probably the majority of people in the United States could afford to get a replacement straw or cup that they could use forever, that is not made out of cheap plastic that gets thrown away, right? So that's my one solution. And then I'm looking up, what do people say about these types of straws that don't have to get thrown away, or cups that can be used over and over again? And what's the problem with why I would want people to do this, right? Because there's real reasons why we don't want to use plastic straws. We don't want to have millions and millions of plastic straws in the environment, right? So go out and you're looking for those articles of what's the problem with plastic straws. Because if the audience can know what the problem is, they're going to be more open to your solution, right? So that is just one example of an action that somebody could take after leaving your TED Talk that you've put forward to them with some background and rationale and understanding of why that's the case. Okay, so here at number 6, you're kind of brainstorming using my example of the plastic versus non-plastic straws. You know, what do you think about your audience's background with the idea? What might they know or not know about it? What stereotypes might they have about it? Do you see how you might persuade them with your emotion or with your credibility? So this is just a little brainstorming. about your idea, whatever comes to you, and then you respond to another student's post. Okay, so that's the basic 6A. When you do 6A, then I, of course, will get back to you on whether I feel like what you're proposing so far would work for the assignment and for the essay, right? And most people will be doing a TED Talk based on a TED Talk in the United States, right? There's hundreds of subsidiary TED Talks in the U.S. generally in the past. Now I'm sure they're all online. There are TED Talks internationally in other countries. So if your problem deals with a problem in South Africa and you're proposing a simple solution in South Africa, that's fine. You just have to make it clear that you're proposing it for this TED Talk, if it's not in the U.S., this TED Talk in this specific location in a different country. If you're proposing it in the U.S., I'll assume if you don't specify that you're proposing it in the U.S. Okay, so that's the 6A. Okay, and so with the 6A, of course, I'm just going to throw out a whole bunch of these different types and ranges of ideas that people have come up with. You can pick any of them, they're open, but, honestly, too, the best types of topics and ideas come from something that you see strongly, or that you believe in, or that you've had experience with, or that you've really have some strong connection to. So you can just pick something off a list, but generally you don't get the same amount of understanding, credibility, experience, background, discussion with that type of topic as you do with something that you've brainstormed that you feel actually more strongly about. One thing that I want to also get you to think about is the idea that if you pick a solution that's too big, too broad, and undoable, it's not going to work, right? So let's say you're concerned about polar bears in the Arctic and the ice melting. That is something we can probably all be concerned about. But if your solution is save polar bears, okay, that's a great idea, but it's not something right now when I leave the talk that I'm going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to do X to save polar bears, right? We need something specific about saving polar bears. So if you want to save polar bears and you're urging people to do it, you have to find one thing that people could do when they leave that would be an action that would significantly, help. So remember, you've got to focus, focus, focus. If, you say we need to cut down racism in our society. Okay, we're 2 thumbs up. Let's cut down racism. But the solution can't be stop being racist, right? That is a solution, but it's too broad and too general for someone to know, what am I doing? So what is one thing people could do to directly address the problem when they leave? And that's what you're trying to think about. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here. Please look carefully at the video and the accompanying document I'm sending with it before you do 6A. And 6A is not due until Tuesday, December 1st. So you have some time when you come back from break to go ahead and look carefully over the discussion and post it up. Okay, so once again, I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving weekend or had a great Thanksgiving weekend, and let me know if you have questions about this topic so far or 6A, the discussion. All right,